All right, let's see if this works. How many people are here? 2 people. I was expecting anyone, to be honest. Not when Survivor's on TV right now. So if anyone's there, feel free to write a question, say something, say good day. 3 people. G'day, mate. How are you? Dave Foster. Thanks for coming to the chat. This is my first time doing one of these things, so I thought I'd give it a go. Good kind of little space just to chat with my followers and people who watch my videos, and yeah, have a bit of a Q&A, bit of a chat, all things camping, Victoria, kids, things like that. Got a couple of pipes as well. I don't know if I'm going to go the old Lord of the Rings Gandalf pipe. This is a personal favorite of mine. Or I've got a nice little falcon pipe. This is one I take out in the bush with me just because it's nice and lightweight and compact. I will have one tonight. Oh, awesome. Yeah, how good was his video? Unreal. That's a brutal trip that they did, hey? Yeah, I was so impressed with that video, just what they achieved and that climb down that mountain. That was unreal. Matsy's such a good guy, hey. Like when I did the trip with him, he is super positive. As you see him on his videos, that's how he is in real life as well. Just a real kind of positive, encouraging kind of guy. So I could just picture him kind of cracking jokes the whole way down that trip, down that cliff, and yeah, in that river. Yeah, he looked a little bit annoyed when he forgot his little nozzle for his pump on his Packraft. So that might be the very first time I've seen him look a little bit frustrated as well. So but good on him. I have no idea where they would have pitched camp if the water wasn't actually that low. It looked like it went straight into rocks. Yeah, it looked like it wasn't really. It's almost a hiking trip with carrying pack rafts behind them, to be honest. So I don't know how much paddling they did, but fair effort, solid effort. Would have been so good. I'm also going to pour a beer. This is one of my home brews. If you see my videos, I'm always carrying out these home brews with me. No, I'm at home at the moment. So I live on my folks have a 21-acre farm, and we're kind of renting. They have 2 houses on the farms, and we rent, my family and I, one of the houses. So this is a little back porch. I've got a little fireplace here. Yeah, usually just sit out here on a Sunday night and have a fire and have a beer and have a pipe. Usually play a bit of music as well, but for the live stream, I thought I'd just keep it quiet. Can you hear the crickets? Oh, squeak. You should be here with me, mate, having a beer. Yeah, you can hear the crickets. There's a few of them out tonight, so it's a clear night. It's good. No wind. How many in the chat? Got 6 people. I honestly wasn't expecting anyone to join this chat at all. 7. Well, I gathered I've got 1,000, almost 1,200 subscribers now. So, well, there should be at least a few people who jump in. I'm gonna load up my pipe. Outliving, love the channel, mate. Good idea with the live chat. Cheers, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Thought I'd give it a go. I saw another channel. Matsy's there, my boy. We were just talking about your trip, Matsy. Dave was talking about how brutal it looked, and probably the first time we've seen you looking a bit frustrated. I was saying you usually pretty positive and cracking jokes all the time. So that was good. Well done. Cracking effort. And outliving as well. Thanks for joining, mate. As I was just saying to you that there's another channel I follow called Bush TV. Is an older bloke from the Vico High Country, and he does forward driving stuff. But yeah, his channel's on a similar level to mine, around about 1,200 followers or so. And yeah, he did a live chat and did really well. So I thought I'd do the same thing, and seemed like a good idea. Dave Foster, you still doing the Wim Hofen? Well, it's summertime, so kind of. I have cold showers still, but in winter is when I'll hop back in the dam because kind of makes sense in the Vico winter. Wim Hof is from Europe, so we down here in Vico, it's nothing like Europe. We really can't complain about the cold. But yeah, when winter starts, I will do the Wim Hof stuff again. Matsy. Apart from the battle, I was coming off the back of a week of zero sleep. Yeah, well, I remember Matsy and I, when we did that trip at the South Coast Walk, I remember rocking up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you were in your car, and you said you hadn't slept at all the night before. You had slept sitting in your car, hadn't a wink of sleep. So I think that night you slept very, very well. So it seems to be a common theme with you. You don't sleep before a trip. Outliving asks, plans with future trips. I just got back from the Bogong High Plains with my 2-year-old boy. That was a great adventure, but yeah, it was really hard with a 2-year-old because just constantly on edge watching him. Video is going to be really good because we had a few run-ins, had some tiger snakes, wild dogs surrounded us at nighttime. Yeah, it was a bit spooky up there. But yeah, the school holidays are coming up. So because I kind of focus on camping with kids, school holidays is obviously a good time to get away. So I might do a kayak fishing camp, and then I'd like to go up to the Murray, and I'd really want to catch a Murray cod. So those are my plans for the near future. And then I've got a list in my study with like every month written down, and under each month I've got like an idea of a trip I might do, but it's constantly changing. Dave Foster, doing the breathing alone is pretty good. Cold showers keeps you in the mode, so keep it up. Yeah, I hear with the breathing, with the cold water therapy stuff, it helps with keeping your like the extremities from being so sore and so painful. So that's one thing I noticed when I was doing the cold water swimming in like the alpine lakes. I felt like I could last like with the cold, but it was the pain in my fingers that would usually get me out of the water. So apparently the breathing helps with circulation, and that apparently helps with that pain. So yeah, it was sketchy. You saw red belly, did ya? So red belly trip this weekend in Natai. Beautiful animals. Yeah, I don't mind snakes. It's funny. I can get really close to a venomous snake and it doesn't bother me. But if there's a huntsman in my house or in the room, I can't go near it. I have to get someone else to get rid of it for me. So, and huntsman's absolutely harmless, but no, I can't stand them. So, but a snake's all right. It's just sketchy when you're with your 2-year-old because my eldest son, he's 7. He's really good. He's really situationally aware out in the bush, so I can kind of trust him a bit better. But yeah, with my 2-year-old on that Bogong High Plains trip and that big tiger snake that was under the hut, yeah, it was a little bit sketchy. The dog sounds scary. Yeah, you'll see it in my next video. Hopefully on Sunday. I'll post on Sunday. But I was super, super cold, and it was about 3 o'clock at night, and I knew I had a fleece liner in my car, like a thermal liner. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to sleep unless I get that thermal liner. So I'll leave my boy in the swag. It was about like a 500 meter walk to the car. It wasn't that far. So I start walking with the torch, and then yeah, the bush just erupts around me, howling, and there's all these wild dogs. And I'd seen their scat walking in and heard that they're a bit of a problem in that area. So I got super spooked and just I basically just went back, picked up my boy. He was in the swag, picked him up in the swag and dumped the swag on the floor of the hut, closed the hut up and lit a little fire in the hut, and yeah, got myself warm and stayed in the hut for the rest of the night. So apparently you're not really supposed to sleep in the huts and use them as accommodation. It's emergency shelter. So I gathered a pack of wild dogs is enough for emergency for me. So I better get into this pipe. close to an emergency. Yeah, well, I saw some pictures, some trail cam pictures recently coming out of the Alpine National Park of a pack of wild dogs bringing down a Samba deer. And if you know how big Samba deers are, that's kind of impressive. So I've heard stories of them growling at people before, but I don't think they'd really go, fully grown person. But I didn't want to leave my little 2-year-old in the swag alone when there's wild dogs around. So this pipe's actually really hard to get going. So it's a nice pipe. It's handcrafted from Ireland, but I might actually switch over to this one. It'll be a little bit easier while I'm talking. Are they just domestics that have become feral, or are they an old bloodline from way back? From what I hear, they're meant to be a mixture of both. So, kind of pure dingoes mixed with mongrels. But I'm not entirely sure about that. That's just what I've heard. Frodo pipe, it is. It's the Gandalf pipe, the wizard pipe. It's a nice comfort, the old pipe at the end of a day out in the bush by a fire or first thing in the morning with a coffee. I actually don't smoke that regularly. It's just around a fire. Usually when camping is when I do it. That's a special occasion. So it's better. So yeah, any other questions about Vico, camping with kids in particular, or anything like that? Fire's kind of going out. I picked up this this fireplace for $100 from Bunnings. Not a very good one though. Had some nice whiskey on our trip. It was amazing around the fire. Yeah, whiskey's not bad. I don't mind whiskey. I'm usually just straight, usually beer all the time. So I won't say no to a whiskey though while camping. Actually, I'll tell you a story. All the beer that I drink when I go out on my camps with the kids and or solo camps or whatever is from my old man. Had a farm gate here that he was selling and put on Facebook Marketplace, and some guy contacted him who was from a craft brewery place nearby and said he wanted to buy the farm gate, but asked if he could buy it in $1,000 worth of beer, kind of craft beer in cans. So my old man, it didn't end up actually liking the taste of them. So I've been pinching them, and yeah, they're the beers I take out when I go camping. They're a really good size as well, kind of the cans, and good strength as well. Yeah, a couple of some stouts, pale ale, lagers, and some ginger beers as well in there. So this is fine. Needs a bit of help. I'm from New South Wales. Haven't camped in Vic. Where would you recommend going? Like, where's your favourite place? I've only been to Bright and the Alps on cycling trip. So I grew up like as a coastal boy. I didn't actually live on the coast. I was a bit of a drive from the coast, but that was the place I'd go to for surfing all the time. So I knew all the kind of camping places around the coastline here. And so I've always loved just camping on the beach. But lately, I've just been getting into the high country, which is the Alpine National Park. It's awesome area to camp in. So Vico, from what I hear, New South Wales is really good with their laws when it comes to camping. Vico is a lot tighter. I think we're not as tight as Queensland. I think Queensland's again a bit more stricter, but there's not a heap of places you can just wild camp or dispersed camp in Victoria. But one of the national parks you can do that in is the Alpine National Park. And the Alpine National Park is absolutely huge. It goes, it's along the Great Dividing Range, so it's a huge amount of area that you can choose from there. And yeah, one of those places you can just look on a map, look at a place you can park the car and walk out to, and yeah, find a spot. So Alpine National Park is also, yeah, always a good one. Depends what you're into though, you know, if you're into kind of wild dispersed camping, or if you like car camping, or there's lots of hiking camp spots in Victoria as well. Um, but it's the kind of thing like you walk into the campsite and you can't get there by car, but it's cornered, like you got little numbered campgrounds cornered off with rope and stuff. I know that's cool and all, but I don't mind doing that every now and then, but I do like just kind of finding your own spot. Squeak says Grampians. Yes, we've done the Grampians a few times, haven't we, Squeak? So Grampians is really good as well, especially for being able to pull up in a car and go for some day walks. But I hear there's a few good trails in the Grampians as well. I haven't really done that side of Victoria so much in my videos. I usually stick to Gippsland area, which is like along the eastern side of Victoria. But yeah, I'd like to do a bit more of the Grampians. Most of my trips so far have been about 8-12 kilometre walk a day and finding a place off trail. Yeah, Alpine National Park then would be the best place for you to visit. Overnighters mostly. Yeah, definitely. And that's the cool thing about the Alpine National Park is that it's a mixture of both your set trails with set campsites, and then you actually legally are allowed to just walk out where you want and set up your own little camp wherever you can find one. Always wondered about the laws that they have in Queensland and Vic. I understand why they're there, but I just don't understand how they can enforce them. Well, they don't really enforce them. So you can look, in my younger times, I've definitely kind of camped outside of the law. As I get older, and especially doing this channel, it's like all my latest stuff is kind of by the book. I think you see Scotty's gone walkabout his videos. He seems to be like that. He's really by the book with what he does. So I've kind of started to do that a lot more than I used to in my past. But I have camped in a few spots like Crown Land on a beach and stuff like that, and run into the parks guys. And they've been really cool, really cruisy, basically, because if they see you're not trashing the joint, you know, you're not setting up a massive campsite, you're being really respectful and taking care of the place, they're usually pretty cool. So, but I haven't really done that for a while, so I've kind of doing the right thing these days in regards to camping. This thing keeps going out if I don't maintain it. So yeah, and then so I'll do stealth camping every now and again, and just not have a fire. Just cook on the little butane stove thing, and then that's your options. You got heaps of options if you want to do that. If you're kind of just sleeping under a tarp, you're not actually even setting up a tent or anything. In and out, you can go to heaps of spots. Do any of the kids have a favorite camping spot? Well, not so much camping spot, but my daughter, who's 5 years old, she always wants to go in the kayak, so she doesn't have to walk. But Ethan's much more up for a bit of a walk, I guess. So, and they're both getting into fishing, so anywhere that's fishing is good. I want to try a Dakota fire pit. Apparently, there's super low profile smoke and light output. I'm trying to think what a Dakota fire pit is. I think I've heard it before. Is that you kind of dig a bit of a hole in the ground, or is it kind of like a U shape in the ground where the air flows in one way and then you kind of your fuel goes in the other side? You dig 2 holes and connect. Yeah, there you go. That's what I thought it was. Yeah, that's cool. Could always do that. It just seems like a bit of time to have to dig a hole out in the bush. It's kind of easier just to make a little fire, I guess. But no, definitely if you have the time. I might give that a go on the farm actually when I got the time to do it. Who else have we got here in the chat? We've got 8 people so far. $17-gram trowel. Yeah, that'd be good. I've been thinking about taking a little trowel out with me. I used to have one. I did do Queensland when I was 21. I hitchhiked up the east coast of Australia, and I spent some time up in the national parks in Queensland. And I brought a little trowel with me, so that was good. That was mostly for the toilet though. So. This fire is raging now. I've got a mixture of Yuki in here and cypress wood. Yuki burns the best. The cypress is pretty good once it's dried out. Have you told people the bloody cyclone story? Natsy says. I haven't told people about that. I should though. I was thinking I'd make a video just separately on that one time, but I think the only person on here who'd know about that story is my old mate Squeak. Yeah, I got stuck in a cyclone up in Queensland, and the tail end of a cyclone really. I was kind of, you know, when you see on the weather radars, hey, it's got that big spiral. I was kind of to the south of it, still within it, but not kind of within the center. And yeah, got absolutely flogged, got rained out. And this was up in Cedar Bay in far north Queensland. And so I stayed there for 2 weeks, just living off the land. And the whole idea was I didn't bring any food with me, didn't bring any water. I just wanted to, it was like kind of my big challenge that I wanted to do, kind of an into the wild inspired thing, and just lived off coconut and crab the whole time I was there. And yeah, on the walk out, I got smashed because there was a creek crossing that I had to do. But I think we had gotten like 200 mil of rain, I think it was, in the space of a few hours. Or yeah, so the creek was just absolutely flooded. So I really wanted to get out and get to accommodation. But I almost drowned crossing that creek. I actually bailed all my sleeping gear, my tent, sleeping bag, everything, because it was too heavy, and I had to swim across this raging torrent. Basically got to the other side of the torrent and grabbed onto a branch, and I was holding on just in the current onto this branch to pull myself up the bank. So that was an adventure. That was one of my best adventures I think I've done. Be Free DMC, do you have the booking system for National Park camping in Vic? You do. You very much do for hiking spots and for a lot of the car camping stuff. A lot of that you have to. But again, Alpine National Park, that's the way to go. You don't have to book. You can camp wherever you want. There's even for four-wheel driving, car camping, there's heaps of spots. You don't have to book in. And yeah, just find a spot, and if you get there and no one's there, you get lucky. Did you ever get your gear back? Were you carrying a pretty minimal setup too? No, I never got my gear back because I bailed pretty quickly the next day. Went up to Cooktown and got a flight back down to Cairns. So I felt pretty bad about that, like dumping all my gear there in the bush. But just didn't have time to get it. And there was more rain forecasted, so there was no way I was going to get back across that creek for the next, few weeks. Yeah, and it was a pretty minimal setup as well. But I actually do more minimal now. So back then I was always in a tent. I was never tarp camping or anything like that. So you were just on the side of a river in a cyclone with zero gear. How far was it back to get out? Yeah, so I should say that creek crossing was the last little creek crossing, and then it was just I think it was something like all up, it was a fair walk. It might have been 15 Ks or something. And then after the creek, it was like literally 1K to the main road. But it was, a road in remote Queensland. So a funny thing, I walked out onto the road and it's terrible weather, pouring down with rain. No one in sight, I still got a long walk along the road. And there was one figure walking down the road, and it was this Indigenous bloke. And he was walking, there was a local Indigenous community near there. And so we ended up walking for like 5Ks or something down this road together, just, having a chat in the pouring down rain. And it's funny because I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I'm on this, crazy adventure. Look at me walking out in the rain. And he was like, yeah, it's just a Wednesday, I'm going home, walking a hell long walk to get to his home. So lucky you had your car keys in your pocket, not your pack. No, I didn't have a car then. I sold my car. This was when I was 21. I had a little, I forget, it was Holden Apollo. Squeak would remember that car. I sold it for a few grand and then just spent something like 9 months just hitchhiking and walking up the east coast of Australia. So, yeah, no, I was doing the full hobo thing. Yeah, Elliot. Elliot was the name of our car. We had a few wild adventures in the city with Elliot back in the day. Matsy says, that makes me think twice about my keys though, Dave. Yeah, you always seem to, on your trips with Scotty, forget things, don't you, Matsy? Didn't you forget your phone or you left your phone in the car or something like that? You'd be a bit buggered though if you left your keys in your car, wouldn't you? You left your phone. I'd be stressing as well, thinking my phone was somewhere lost in the remote bush. That your pack rafting videos, Matsy and Scotty's pack rafting videos has me so keen to get a pack raft. I've even had the stupid idea of, I wonder if I could sit one of my kids on my lap, and that's probably pushing it. I don't think I should do that, but yeah, I'd like to at least do a few pack rafting trips in the future. When you're tarp camping in Vic, do you ever use a bivvy or just a ground sheet or something? So always a ground sheet, and now I use a Mozzie little bug net. So I'm done trying to be hardcore, trying to be like guys like Scotty and Matsy and sleep out in the open with the snakes and that. I just don't like mosquitoes. I don't like snakes. I don't like bugs. I don't like spiders. So these days I'm just in a bug net. Or if I go kayak camping, the setup I love to do is my tent, just the inner fly. So I don't put the rain jacket or whatever it is over it, and then just put the tarp over it. So it feels like you're out in the open, but you got that protection. Silly swag, man. To be fair, it just came out of my pocket and I hadn't realized went down the side of the seat. Yeah, I'm always doing that on the farm. We have a little Suzuki Stockman, like a Jimny, and it's always falling out of my pocket, and I go in for lunch and I'm like, oh, where's my phone? And of course it's down at the bottom seat of the car. The pack rafts are a lot of fun. They look incredible. They look so much fun. I've done rapids in Uganda on the River Nile before. So, yeah, but rather on a kayak, and also I've done it in a proper big raft, but never, pack raft. I've done a few kayak trips, but the pack rafts look fun. They do look fun, don't they? Kayak trips are good. But the pack rafts look awesome. I saw a guy one time, I forget his name, an adventurer from the UK, and he stand-up paddleboarded down one of the longest rivers in Sri Lanka. And yeah, he had a few rapids as well, and that looked really cool. Last night, I was so glad I had my bivvy, massive jumping jack ants, ticks, leeches, spiders. Bugger that. Yeah, the bivvy's good as well. I wouldn't mind getting a bivvy. I've got an emergency bivvy, but that can't zip up or anything. It's just one that goes in my little first aid kit. That car is awesome. It's a good little car. My old man has talked about thrown the idea out there of actually doing it up and getting it roadworthy because they go for a lot of money these days, the done up chimneys. But I'm like, that would be so cool. I'd take that up in the high country. You could get anywhere in that. They're just so hard to get bogged. They're so lightweight. Real cool. Yeah, I would love to get that going. So can't really camp in it or sleep in it, but just for the places you can go to in it. I'm actually, for those of you who don't know, I drive a two-wheel drive. I feel a little bit emasculated admitting that, but I do not have a four-wheel drive. I drive a soccer mum car, Mitsubishi Outlander, and it doesn't really get me to all the places that I want to go to when I look on a map. So breeze mesh PV, they're good. They have foot mesh on top and a bathtub floor. Yeah, I do want to get a bivvy. I want to go camping in the snow this year, so I wouldn't mind getting a bivvy for that and then sleep under the tarp. Craig says, "G'day from the UK." G'day, mate. Good to tune in. What time is it there? You'd be behind us, I think. So it's still daylight in the UK, I think. You drive a 2004 Echo. Good on you. That's good. Yeah, I know. It's all right. The good thing about the Outlander, it's got a bit of clearance on it. So I took it when I went up to Bogong last weekend. I took it down a four-wheel drive track to get to this hut, and it did say four-wheel drive only. And I'm like, oh, I'll give it a go. There was a few sketchy parts, but I did manage to get to the spot I wanted to. Get this fire going. Last year when I was up in the high country with my boy Ethan, we took a four-wheel drive track as far as we could go down, and then it got to a point where I was like, I can't take you any further, mate. Like, we're going to get stuck. And he got real upset, and he started saying, "Dad, why don't we have a four-wheel drive?" And I'm like, "Oh, mate, I'd like one, I don't really have the money for it." And then he starts saying, "Well, when I'm older, I'm going to get a four-wheel drive, and me and my friends are going to go four-wheel driving." So I'm like, "You do that, mate. That's a good idea." It's 11 a.m. in the UK. Okay. Yeah, because the UK is fairly within the same time zone as Uganda when I was there. Oh, you're a little bit behind again. That's right. Ethan, get a job so I can afford 60. Yeah, exactly. So he's 7. So we'll have to wait till when you're legally allowed to work. I think it's 15 or 16 here. So you can start contributing then. One day I'll afford one, hopefully. It's funny, I don't really want one to be able to go four-wheel driving, so to speak, but just to get to more remote places for wild camping. So I like car camping, but I don't know, since starting this channel, I've just gotten so much back into wild camping, dispersed camping. It's just all I want to do right now. So I want one just to get crazy trailheads off big heights. Yeah, exactly. That's the same reason. I'm thinking of all the hikes where I've had to, park ages away just because I couldn't get in any closer. It just opens up, especially in the high country in Vico, opens up so many opportunities. Back in my day, though, when I was driving the little Holden Apollo, it's like a Camry. I took that on the south coast of New South Wales down some sketchy little four-wheel drive tracks to go surfing. This thing's almost out. Be free, DMC. Surprising where you can get in a two-wheel drive. Exactly. You just, a little bit of courage. You can push a two-wheel drive. Fair way, I say. People are just scared to. Depends how long you want the two-wheel drive to last as well. So I couldn't really afford to replace mine at the moment, so I should be careful. I took the Echo into a national park in heavy rain. Luckily, the roads were freshly graded. It was bumpy, and I got a few weird looks, but I got there in the end. Yeah, I'll be careful when it comes to the weather. Like if I know it's dry and rain's not forecasted, that's when I'll push it. But if I know there's going to be heavy rain, no, I just won't risk it. So I wonder how many of you here have kids and take kids camping, or you guys are more doing your solo camps at the moment, which is really fun as well. Did a lot of that when I was younger. When we lived down under a RAV4, our first trip to Glasshouse Mountain, that's Queensland. Driving up a track, met a dad and son coming down the mountain in their troopy ute, asked could we drive to the top. They replied, in that. Yeah, in a RAV4. So there you go. We the organisation I worked for in Uganda used to drive a RAV4, and I tell you what, their normal roads there would be some of their normal roads that they take a RAV4 down would be, considered our sketchy 4-wheel drive roads. So you can take a car anywhere really if you're not afraid to get it banged up. You've got 4 boys. Awesome. That's good. Good to hear. There's not a lot of people who have a lot of kids these days. Most people stop at around 1 or 2. So representing there, you've got 1 more than me. Kids are good, man. I love kids. Part of the reason I started this channel was I kind of would hear from a lot of people I'd hear out there that once you have kids, the adventure's over. You can't have adventures anymore and stuff. So I started the channel just to encourage people to know that no, that's not the case. Life does change. It does get harder. Like you don't have as much freedom as you did, that's for sure. But you can make it work, and you can still have a lot of fun and still have a lot of adventures as well. So yes, by no way means the end of your adventurous life. End up with a Prado and took our daughters all over Australia for 6 years. Yeah, Prados do all right as well. That's awesome. All over Australia, that would be great. It's a great goal, man. Cheers. Thanks for that. Our youngest was born there and she went with us everywhere. What an experience, hey? How long were you doing that for? But I think more people should take their kids outdoors. Yeah, well, it's that whole saying. What's the they say, oh, what kind of a planet are we leaving for our kids? Well, the flip to that is, what kind of kids are we leaving for our planet? So I think it's important to raise kids well, obviously, give them that love for the outdoors. Can take the boys on harder trips and still have fun with the younger ones. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when my boy gets a little bit older, like when he's a teenager, and take him out on some real long hikes. If he still wants to come with me, I don't know. Funny about that, my kids don't do any weekend sports, so soccer, basketball, that kind of stuff, which is great for kids to do. But I've kind of been holding off putting them into that, because I know that once they're locked into that, it's like weekends weekends are taken up then. So, and I try and use my weekends with them to do outdoor adventures. So I've always said, if they come to me and they beg, oh, Dad, I really want to do soccer or something, or footy, I'll let them do it. But I'll try my best to encourage them to want to do outdoor adventure stuff. Youngest was 3 when we came back to the UK. When are you and Matsy doing another trip? Well, we should have one planned same time that we did the last one, which is in spring, so around September. So all going well, we should have another one lined up for then. This year, as he says. So I won't say where, but I will say that on our last trip, there was a certain lookout, and we were looking down the coast, quite a fair few kilometers, and it's just wild landscape down there, and we're like, we have to go walk that coastline. think maybe a lot of people don't feel confident enough in their own skills to make sure their kids are safe. Yeah, that's a good point. Which is why it's really great for young blokes to get out while they can solo and just learn as much as they can, and rough it out in the bush, and so that when they do have kids, they can pass that on. Definitely. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny thing taking your kids out wild camping. I know a few people who kind of, I won't say a name, but a family member who doesn't necessarily like it that much and thinks it's a bit dangerous. But I like to think that it's calculated danger. So I try my best to keep them safe while kind of pushing them a little bit. Are you chucking that canister on the fire tonight live? What canister's that? Hey, Tim Chillman. You chuck. Oh, the canister. That's right. The butane canister. Yeah, I have about 5 hiking butane canisters, and Tim recommended that to get rid of them, you chuck them on the fire, and that's the best way to dispose of them. So I could do that tonight. That'll be a bit of a show. So I might wake up the kids, though, if I do that. I know that lookout in far south coast. There you go. You know where it is then. Such a perfect metaphor for life. Life is risky, and it's about risk management. What's the saying? Teach kids to do things dangerously. No, teach kids to do dangerous things carefully, something like that. So get them to do things that have risk, but do it in a way that's kind of monitored and kind of safe. Don't do it, Tim says. I've got a fair few of them as well, so I put them all in together. We used to do that when we were teenagers. We'd do the links in the sock and dose it in petrol and then light it and then throw it out somewhere in the paddock. Back in the day, back in the reckless young days. Awesome rugged coastline. That whole coastline from like the south coast of New South Wales all down along far east Victoria, like the Gippsland area. It's just really, really remote. Got hit by the fires really bad back in 2020, 21. We saw a bit of that on our trip up the south coast as well. A lot of burnt out places. Yeah, note to the Tim Chillman, love your album, hope to hear more from you. I'd like to hear more from Tim as well. Tim and I also have a trip planned as well in the future. We've got a few trips planned, but hopefully a snow camp, because Tim's loves the high country camping and much more experience than me when it comes to the high country stuff. So that's why I was like, take me along to a snow camp in the winter. You country kids, says Matsy. One of my diggers was from the country, and the stories he used to tell us were absolutely wild. I wasn't actually a country kid though, Matsy. I was out of the suburbs, I'd say. So yeah, the real country kids, they were much more wild as well. Yeah, country kids. Country kids are burning up cars. Where we are right now, because I'm joining the CFA, local CFA here, and just the other week there was a couple of teenagers that started a fire here in one of the farms because they were doing burnouts in a paddock bomb, and it caught on fire. So the CFA had to come and put the fire out. They live in another world. They do. And they all have, have you seen mullets? The mullet has come back in style as well. Big sticks just falling out of this fireplace. Yeah, all the country kids with their mullets. I went to the Farm World, which in Victoria on Saturday. It's a big farm expo, and it's all the country guys. They had a rodeo there. They're all wearing their boots and they wear their mullets. Do you have to pay to get the training to join the CFA? No, the CFA is awesome. So they're desperate for volunteers. The local CFA in our area sent out 250 letters to the local area asking for recruits, and I was the only person who responded. But it's all free. You sign up. They kind of screen you, see where you're at. And it's all free training. So I actually just had my my first theory exam today. I've got another one next week, and then at the end of next month, I've got my practical assessment. Then I'm a part of the CFA. I can go out and fight fires. But it's really cool. I'm just doing the general firefighting course, which is the basic entry stuff. But then from there, there's all this training that you can do, and it's all free. So get my chainsaw license. I'm going to do off-roading, four-wheel drive license, get a truck license. Yeah, there's heaps of stuff you can do with the CFA, and it's all free. So it just sometimes it takes a while to get into a course, but when you do get into a course, it's all free. Rat's tail. Yeah, I remember the rat's tail back in the day. I haven't seen a few of them around lately. The mullet is on every kid here in Sydney as well. Pretty funny. Oh, the Eshays wear them as well. You call them Eshays? I'm getting old, man. I'm almost 40. But they crank the mullet. Bring back the piss fringe. I don't even know what the piss fringe is. Is that like shaved head, and then you got that kind of little fringe at the front? Oh, the front mullet. You know those guys who drop in by air to dig trenches? I think it's a popular thing in California. I always wondered how the trenches can be big enough to stop a fire when they can jump whole rivers. Yeah, so when it comes to fire science, like the trenches, it all depends on how big the fire is, what the weather's doing. The fire science is pretty amazing how they calculate it and stuff, and they know there might be a fire over here, and they know that the fire is going to reach up to a certain area within a few days time, and then the weather's going to slow down again. So if they do a fire line or a trench, they'll be able to stop it there. And yeah, it's incredible the kind of knowledge that they have. And yeah, it's cool though. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting out there and actually putting some fires out. So Tim and I just recently went on a little kayak adventure as well nearby here, for a day adventure, catching some fish and scoping out some wild campsites. I didn't catch anything. Tim caught his first bass, but yeah, it's really cool to know there's a place just an hour's drive from here that has some good spots for wild camping in the kayak. They're going in with like hand tools. What an absolute punishment! Yeah, so I've learned how to do that with the Racos. It's a hoe on one side and a rake on the other, and I'll have to do that. In my assessment, I have to do a fire line or whatever, dig a trench, and they'll judge me on that. Hopefully, I'll dig a good trench. Just go throw a few more Lynx Africa socks out there and you'll be working in no time. They reckon that back in the day, like in the 1980s, that they had a real issue with people in the CFA would actually light fires because they had an addiction to fighting fires. So they reckon that doesn't happen as much anymore. That was a great day. When are we going to see some custom labels for your beautiful home brew? Well, truth be told, this is letting you in on a bit of a confession here, but my home brews are kind of the rookie newbie style of home brew where I'm just buying the kit that you can buy from the store and mix it together. But I haven't advanced yet to the point where actually you're doing it all yourself with adding your hops and your sugars and to the different varying degrees to make your own beer that's essentially yours. So I'm still pretty proud of my home brews, though. I think they taste good. I think they taste better than a normal beer from the bottle-o, just because it's the whole micro brewing thing. So instead of your commercial beers are all brewed in a massive vat, so this is brewed in just like a 30 liter keg container thing. So they do taste good, even if they're the kind of the can kit thing. Most captains in the 80s were pyros. That's what I hear. So. I don't think they'd be like that now, though. They're pretty big on their safety and stuff in the CFA now. From what I hear in the 80s, it was like cowboys. They'd just go out and chase any fire that was that would light up and try and put it out. But yeah, they don't do that now. Do you guys hear the lapwings? We always get masked lapwings here at night time. They got their fixed in control manner. That's it. Drip Torch Cowboys. Yeah, I got trained how to use the drip torch the other day. It was good fun. I could see why it might be a little bit addictive. Do you get yellowtail black cockatoos in Vic? We do, and we get them a lot here on the farm. And yeah, they have a beautiful sound to them. I don't know how far north they go. I do remember we saw a few on the trip we did on the south coast with Matsy. And I think even in your video I just watched this afternoon, Matsy, there was a few yellowtails in there. So you obviously get them around the Sydney area or wherever you were. I don't know how north they do go, but we do get the yellowtails here. My old man. Oh, that's good to know. Was he one of the the pyro CFA captains, was he? They're in Sydney even. Yeah, okay. So I thought they were up that high. We get every now and then the gang cockatoo as well, I think it's called. It's like the grey with a bit of pink in the face. Sentinel Park has a massive flock, and they love the she oaks and pines and stuff like that. They're always chewing on the pine cones. So to all the people who watch the channel, just want to say thank you so much for watching. Still got a fair way to go. Almost at monetization. I've just got to get my watch hours up. And my plan is that once I get my watch hours up and I get my channel monetized, I might do the whole Patreon thing, or there's the YouTube club thing or something like that. And then I gathered that once I feel kind of legit enough that I'm actually monetized, maybe I'll start reaching out to people for freebies. So I haven't gotten any. I know I have gotten a few free things. Dog and Gun. I got a part of the dog squad, which was really cool. That was great to be a part of. So good on them. And I got some friends up in Queensland who do vintage children's books. So they send me like old Australian vintage books, like Waltzing Matilda and The Man from Snowy River, and I read them to my kids while out camping. So I'm happy with that. Luke says, "Hey mate, just wanted to say you did a great job getting your daughter home after the lakes entrance trip. She was looking pretty crook. How was she when you got home?" She was still chucking her guts up for the next day and a half, I think. So it was good that I got her home. Poor little thing as well. We'd be paddling in the kayak and she's just like, "Dad, can you please stop? Like, you need to stop. And I'd have to quickly paddle over to a little sand beach and go behind a tree and dig a hole for her. And she'd ask me, "Can you please, look away, go away?" And she'd do her business there. And then, yeah, she'd have about 30 minutes before the next bout with diarrhea and chunder. So poor little thing. Yeah, that trip didn't go as planned as I hoped it would, because I was hoping it'd be a full, fishing adventure, that one, but didn't catch any fish. She got sick, so that video kind of bombed. Craig says we had the yellowtail on northern shores of Sydney. Okay, so yeah, they're up in the northern beaches then. Yeah, cool. A little bit more left in this pipe. I'll finish this off. What time are we on? 9:23. I'll go for another 15 minutes or so. Do you think you'll ever give fly fishing a go? Says Squeak. It was a goal of mine to get into fly fishing this year, but I think the season closes for the rivers. Oh, I still got up to June. So the rivers close off to trout around June, and then they open up again in September. So I'd like to do fly fishing. It looks cool. From what I hear from guys who do it, they say it's like hunting for fish. That's the way they've explained it. Kind of like lure fishing though. Lure fishing is cool. Hope all your goals for the channel come to fruition, dude. Cheers. Thank you for that. I've always said that, look, I'd be stoked if I got the channel to a point where it actually pay for the trips that I'm doing and cover the costs of it. And I mean, that would be a dream, that, let alone actually making a little bit more money from it. So And it's kind of the new photo album as well. I go back and watch my old videos, mainly because I just love to watch my kids when they were younger. Like even from a year ago, seeing how little they were, it's pretty special. So I just love camping with the kids. I'm not going to stop doing it, and I love documenting it. So, look, if this channel goes nowhere, I'll still be doing what I'm doing just because I love it. I'm passionate about it, but I would like to get it to a place where I could, at the very least, cover the costs of our trips. So, Craig says, we're now purchasing Dog and Gun here to UK after watching you and Matsy make us jealous drinking it. That's really cool. So that's great that they're able to ship it off to the UK to you. I reckon the shipping costs would be a bit of money though, but good to see that you're drinking that. I don't know if there's any other kind of coffee companies over there that's doing the same kind of thing, but it's pretty unique in my opinion, what Dog and Gun do. And I just think they've got a really good philosophy as well, a mindset. Do you come to New South Wales much for camping? So when I was younger, I grew up family holidays as a kid, camping at Bermagui, which is on the south coast. So that's where I learned surfing or got into bodyboarding really, and learned how to fish, learned how to camp, all that kind of stuff was in New South Wales on the south coast. So that's why I love that area so much. So, but last time I was there was when I did that trip with Matsy. But yeah, I haven't been there since, and just loving exploring Victoria at the moment. So I don't know a heap of guys doing like the wild camping in Victoria on YouTube. There's probably a few. There's a guy who lives close to me called Scotty. He's got a channel called Southernland Bushcraft, which is really good. And he does a lot of stuff in his farm, like real cool bushcraft stuff. But he goes out every now and then, and his videos are cool. There's a lot of four-wheel drive guys down here on YouTube, but I don't know if you guys know anyone from Vico doing like wild dispersed camping videos in Vico. I'd love to see that, but I figured maybe it might be a bit of a niche I can fit into, and then also I don't see a lot of guys in Australia doing wild camping with little kids, so that's why I thought I'd do that as well. Is Josh Carr Vic? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, Sutherland Bushcraft is awesome. Yeah, he's a really good guy as well. I met him the other day. He came around and said hi. So I told him I want him to teach me how to light a fire with a bow drill because I've never done that before. 12 pound, thinking that's pound. I always get my pounds and euros mixed up. 12 pound shipping, but was worth it. We don't have anything similar to Dog and Gun here. Yeah, I think that's why they're going to do really well because they've kind of created something new and unique. Just want to say keep up the great work before you disappear. Cheers, mate. I appreciate that. I will be continuing to make videos this year. It's hard when you've got bills to pay, and I've got to focus on also working and money for the kids and money for the family. But I will be doing, at the very least, I'll be doing one video, one camp a month. So for this year, just because I love it, I'm not going to stop. Jumping Like a Monkey says, any more plans for collabs with Matsy? Yeah, we are just talking about that before. September this year. That's the plan anyway. So similar area where we went to last year. But there's another stretch of coastline that's even more wild that we want to do a trip there. No, it's all good. Thanks for jumping in. Hey, appreciate it. I'm actually really stoked. I've got a few people in here tonight. I wasn't expecting that. It's a bit of a risk doing this live stream thing. I've never done this before, so I thought I'd give it a go. Can't help. I watched Matsy's video the other day, his little 3-part series that we did. It was so funny watching myself again on his video because I was just thinking about, I feel pretty comfortable in front of the camera when it's my camera and I know I can edit it and stuff, but I actually felt really kind of nervous being in front of someone else's camera and knowing that they had the power to edit me how they want. But Matsy, he did good by me. He left out all my kind of awkward moments where I ummed and ahed, and he did a good little edit. So that was good of him. Just saying, sitting around a fire is a beautiful vibe right now. I appreciate the insight of camping with kids. Getting out in nature is the dream. If I ever have kids, absolutely. Get out in nature at all stages of life, I say. Yeah, when young and single, well, not single, but don't have kids, you know, you got a lot of freedom. Absolutely do it. I did it. Then when you have kids, yeah, camp with them. Even when you're older, like when I was up in Mount Bogong last weekend, I saw a real old fella. He was out full hiking with his pack on and everything. And I'm like, that's so cool. I hope I'm fit and healthy enough to do that when I'm older. I always tell people that I went down under to discover Australia, but my biggest surprise was that you discover yourself when you go to Australia and explore it. Yeah, we are really blessed here in Australia. We're pretty lucky. It's like there's a lot of wilderness in other countries as well, but we have just access to the wilderness and real like wild places here that a lot of other places don't necessarily have. So yeah, that is cool. So anyway, that is about 1 hour doing this little live stream thing. I might wrap it up. So if anyone's got any final questions, otherwise I think that's pretty much it for tonight. Finish my pipe, finish my beer. Have to be up at 7 in the morning, not too early, working on the farm. Good to see wild camping with kids. Can be hard but rewarding. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Thanks for that. Very much appreciated. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for having a chat. I've appreciated it. And thanks for watching the videos as well. Hopefully there will be one up on Sunday, the one with the tiger snake and the wild dogs, my little 2-year-old. So that'll be a good one. All right, guys, I'm going to tune out now. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Squeak. Thanks for coming in. And all the best, guys. Have a good one. All right, now this is funny because this is the first time I've done a live stream. I don't know how to turn this thing off, hey? So bear with me. End live stream. There it is. All right, see you guys.